Hello, everybody. Welcome. Those are psych investigator. Hell, everybody. Welcome. Those are psych investigators. So, guys, there's a lot to discuss today. Let's get started with asking for protection. I'd like to ask for protection. A beautiful ray of lights coming on top of my head as I breathe in. I fill my lungs as I breathe out. I create a circle. I create a circle. I step into it. I step into it. I feel protected. I feel connected. I like to ask that information come only from the highest sources, that I create the good and all the good, and so it is. Okay, so um so let's get started. Guys, there's so much to talk about. I separated a lot of the news. Let's go through it. Now, I have there's many news that I selected, of course, but one of the ones that is the most recent is something I want to talk about, which is about the Insurrection Act. Let's see. All right, so hold on. All right, so Trump administration officials seriously discussing invoking Insurrection Act. Sources say a decision isn't expected to be imminent, one source said, but debate within the administration has shifted recently to more deeply exploring how and when the act might be invoked. Okay, so Washington. White House officials have held increasingly serious discussions in recent days about President Trump's invoking the Insurrection Act, a rarely used 19th century law that gives the president the power to deploy active duty troops inside the United States for law enforcement purposes. 5 people with knowledge of the talks told NBC News. All right. Now, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but let's just stop here. A decision to invoke the act is not expected to be imminent, a senior administration official said. Were it to happen, it would be a notable escalation. Now, why do I want to talk about it? Just because since there's a connection with the military, like his downfall. So I feel like him talking about this to me means that we're closer, right? I mean, by the way, no, that's not what let me backtrack a little bit. So we know he's been pushing for declaring all these areas some sort of like he's been digging for this, and it's something that it's been implicit and it's sometimes explicit, their goal to become a real dictatorship. That's what they want, right? I mean, in the way we are in that, but in other ways we're not. But I think that's something that they want. That's something the Nazis did and such. But what we're going to talk about here now in this context is that he's sent troops to all these cities, and we know the whole story of the military. I talk about it all the time, and that's why I want to ask. So because it's weird when I hear myself say this. It's almost as if I am advocating for that, but I'm not, right? It's just that to me it would mean that we're closer to the end if he does do that. So what is going to happen? Is he going to call the Insurrection Act? What is going to happen? He wants that. He has that. So he wants that explicitly. He has asked for it. He has declared it in the speech that he gave to the military. He's saying that's something Russia wants. It's like he's attacking, he's basically attacking the country. We are under attack by him. Yes. But this is an important escalation. Is it going to happen? The military is saying no. It will continue to say no. It's saying he may ask for it, but it's not going to happen. because let's say they need to create a very big terrorist attack of their own creation. And I think it's much harder than they think. So tell me more. So how does he so mm, mm, sorry. No, it's saying that it still feels to me like the military is going to be involved, but I don't think it's going to be because of this necessarily. It's like the whole thing. He's a traitor. He wants to attack the country. It's not going to come as a consequence of one thing that he's done. It's just a collective thing. I think they know that they're the only ones that could do something about it. So, so should we be concerned? I would say I don't think it's going to get to that point just because he'll be removed before. It's interesting. It also tells me that, and we need to talk about this too, the whole Epstein file thing. It looks like we're going to get to the point where it's going to be released, and that is very close to the end. It feels like to me. And it's saying, okay, and then it's telling me here that the military would mean they would get involved also as a means to prevent Elon Musk from Elon Musk. It's funny, I said Elon Musk. I meant JD Vance from taking over because they know that the doesn't make sense. The election was stole. Did they really? Yeah, it's saying they have information. Guys, this is something that depresses me. It's very upsetting that somebody knowed it and did nothing. Or it's saying, no, that's not that they did nothing. It's like I don't quite understand it, but it's saying they will act as Trump fails, as he goes down, as a means to also prevent the other illegitimate person from taking over. It's saying they know that Palantir and Peter Thiel are also working against the USA. So I don't know, guys. So it's saying, keep the faith. It's saying, don't try to, but how, but how? No, just keep the faith. Know that it is coming. And I know that I sometimes watch astrologers, and I know Andre, Andre, he's an astrologer. He was doing something about Stephen Miller, and he said that the chart of him and others suggests that indeed something is going to happen to this administration because it looks really bad for them. So I thought that was really interesting. So, and then even though I didn't add this to the news, but Trump also threatened the governor of Illinois and the mayor of Chicago with arrest. No, it's saying no, it's not going to happen. Don't worry. And that the military indeed are on, like they're not going to let it happen. Okay, so this is this part. So let's move to the next subject. So, man arrested for starting Pacific Palisades fire in January. And here he is. This dated photo provided by the U.S. Attorney's Office showed Jonathan Winderknecht, a suspect in the Palisades fire. So he lives in Florida. So let's read up on this a bit. And by the way, I had in fact seen that there was somebody involved in this. It was arson back when it happened. So let's look into this man. And also because I remember at the time saying that I don't think he was alone. He was like randomly just went somewhere and then decided to do it. Who financed this? Right? He lives in Florida. It's like how does he get there? How does it? And then not randomly. I keep using this word randomly. No, it's not random. But I as I was on scrolling on X, I saw that I think it was Estonia or Poland had arrested somebody for trying to do sabotage for the Russians. And I thought in that he was paid with there was like drugs involved or something. And something feels At that moment, I thought there's something feels similar here, but let's look. 29-year-old former Uber driver arrested in connection with starting deadly Palisades fire. Authorities said Jonathan Winterknecht took photos on his cell phone and listened to a rap song whose music and video included things being lit on fire. And just looking at his skin, he looks. Why do I think that he's addicted to drugs? He looks like he has a liver issue. It's like yellow for some reason immediately. Authorities allege that Jonathan set the fire, which killed a dozen people. It was fully contained on January 31st. Rinderknecht was arrested Tuesday near his home in Florida on a charge of destruction of property by means of fire. Okay, let's see. Okay. Rinderknecht, who previously lived in the Pacific Palisades neighborhood, had just finished working as an Uber driver when he started the blaze, according to the complaints. Two of the passengers he picked up told investigators that Rinderknecht appeared agitated and angry. Authorities allege that after he dropped off a passenger in Pacific Palisades, Rinderknecht drove towards Skull Rock Trailhead, tried to contact a former friend, and then walked up the trail. Authorities said that at around 11:45 p.m., he took two videos on top of the hill and that no fires were visible, according to the complaint. Around 12:12 a.m. on January 1st, sensors indicated a fire in the area. Authorities said Winternesh tried to call 911 several times but could not get through because his cell phone was out of range. So, so let's see. Let's see what the story is here. Could he I guess live there for what happens? Like how, I mean, why do I think that? Why do I think that he is not, did he just do it? It was like a random solo act. Because I remember too that at that time there was somebody caught on camera with a gasoline thing. Remember this? I remember this really well, and it wasn't this guy. And then he was arrested, I think. So what happened? I see that there were people offering. Wow, you know what's so weird? I see something on Craigslist even offering like quick jobs for someone to do something and get paid. There's more. I see that again. I see that there's foreign involvement in this in trying to recruit these people. And even posting, like I said, there was like these some sort of extremist websites where these ideas are propagated. Like say something like, "Oh, I'm thinking of putting a fire in this and that area," and then it's like Discord chats, stuff like that. So it's saying there's foreign intelligence involvement. Yes, there's internal U.S. involvement, but it's a bit like, those suicide bomber types people. They don't, even though they act on their own, they don't really, like somebody gives them the idea, right? You need more than one person. You need more than just, um, it's more complicated than that, I think. Okay. And, right. Does it make sense, guys? I really don't think it was just a random person. Like, oh, I'm so angry. I'm gonna go do this here or there. I think there is a recruitment scenario happening online. It could either be that people are paid, like it happens in all these other countries, right? Where this makes sense. The way Russia works. That's why I feel like there's a connection. Okay, and I think Trump knows. That's just my sense. So okay, tell me about it's saying no, it wasn't a coincidence. I think there is some way of recruiting these people, just like those men that go that happen to be right there at those places, where with the Trump's attempts, uh, and also even the Charlie Kirk thing. I think people were recruited, people who are mentally weak. This makes sense. It's almost like they know how to recruit the people to show up and do specific things. I don't think it's a coincidence, guys. I don't think was he acting alone? Was he acting alone? Now I see interesting messages, like text messages. Go here, do this. And is it going to come out? It's saying yes. But there in the future there will be more stuff coming out, but I don't think it's a coincidence. I don't. I just don't. Okay. And I think it's people who go on these extremist websites, whether it's 4chan or something like that. They give them ideas, and then I see that there was text messaging with some internet person. So, and that they will eventually find these like nucleus of people, or like there's the people that suggest the thing, that create the posts. Okay, so okay. All right, let's move to the next. Okay, so this is another it's a sad situation, really. How else can we put it? So this is this is a dichotomy in the comparison of what's happening. So, and I have these guys I have here. I'm gonna put it on here for you so you could see it of Javier Milei's rock concert, quote unquote. I don't understand the words that he's saying at all. I usually understand Spanish at least, or can make out the words, but it's like that, so I can't. But so the story is, this is sad but true, right? That with the tariffs, these soy farmers have lost 24 plus billion dollars in trade with China. They were selling these soybeans to China, but now these soybeans are going to they're going to be sold by Argentina, because once they killed the market, basically that's what Trump did, right? Then there was an opportunity, and Argentinian farmers jumped in. Argentina did, and so Argentina is doing business with them. I mean, this was something that a senator was caught. Was a senator, I think it was, sent to Trump or to the Treasury Secretary. And so we know that the Treasury Secretary, his good friend, a hedge fund guy, is doing business with Argentina, so he would make money from it. But the bottom line is that farmers are losing 24 plus billion dollars from this, and Argentinians are taking up that trade, number one. Number two, in addition to giving Argentina all this business, right? And basically killing American farms, like really, they're also providing $20 billion in assistance to Argentina as a country, because they like Milei, the libertarian guy, and he's so unpopular. I mean, at least he can fill a stadium for his rock music, but that's one of the ways that he's spending this money, right? So you understand, it's just like the depravity of this is unbelievable. There's like people clapping, and sometimes I hear from my house. I don't know. Sometimes it's a concert somewhere. I don't know. I don't know if you can hear. Probably can't hear it, but I can hear. It's interesting. Anyway, so going back here, it's just it's very, it's upsetting for many reasons. And Elon Musk was, remember how Elon Musk went on some conservative thing and he got was it a chainsaw? It was a gift of Malay. And here he is now. It's a joke economy, right? Not joke. It's tragic for a lot of people there, but now we are rewarding financially the biggest competitor who's taking up all the business from American farmers. I mean, this is the truth of what's going on. Let's actually, I'm going to play this video to you, and then I'm going to, let's see if I can play I don't know if sometimes the volume is a little strange. Let's see if I could do that. Let's see. It's so sad. It really is very sad. But let's look. Okay, actually, let me share now the article, the story of the farmers, right? America's soybean farmers are panicking over the loss of Chinese buyers. China hasn't booked any U.S. soybean purchases for months. In months, farmers warn of bloodbath. American soybean farmers are in panic mode as they harvest what is expected to be a bumper crop without their biggest customer, China. We'll see the bottom drop out if we don't get a deal with China soon, said Ron Kindred, who farms 1,700 acres of corn and soybeans in central Illinois. There doesn't seem to be any urgency on China's side, and more urgency coming from the farm community in the US. Kindred is about halfway through harvesting this year's soybean crop. He has a contract to sell about 40% of his harvest, but the other 60% is a gamble. Prices in his area is already dropping, he said. Now, this is interesting, right? Brazil is also, I know, a big producer of soybeans. Argentina. Okay, so rising costs for equipment and fertilizer and a glut of corn and soybeans were already squeezing farmers' balance sheets. Congress in December passed a $10 billion bailout for farmers. The Trump administration is considering allocating $10 billion to $14 billion more to farmers to help mitigate fallout from this year's trade battles. Trump, oh, this is the person that I remember seeing the message from. It wasn't a senator, it was this person, Brooke Rollins. So Trump is expected to meet later this week with Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins to make a final determination of where the money for a farmer bailout should come from. The president and his team are considering the use of tariff revenue to refund much of the aid. Okay. China accounted for more than half of the 24.5 billion of American soybean exports last year. Most of the soybeans China imports are for animal feed. Over the past few years, the country has increasingly turned to South America, buying beans grown in Brazil and Argentina. Seeking ways to reduce U.S. farmers' reliance on China, Kindred has traveled to Vietnam and the Philippines to try to persuade their livestock farmers to buy more American soybeans. We can't replace the market overnight, but we've got some success stories in recent years. Okay. Across the Mississippi River from Kindred in Iowa, an Iowa soybean grower, Maury Hill, has traveled to Cambodia several times this year, and as recently as last week. Okay, Morocco. So they're moving, right? They're doing something about it. So let's see. Okay, so it is a sad situation. What can we say? So what's going to happen in this scenario? Both for Argentina. Now that's for the first part of the what I showed you. What is going to happen with that? Number one. Number two, what is going to happen with the the farmers? Okay, Argentina. Tell me the money. Farmers. So so first I see the Argentina thing that is it Scott? I forgot his last name. You know what I'm talking about? The guy who hmm, hmm, the Treasury Secretary. I see him pushing a package. Like it's showed me as it's like a USPS package. There's like being pushing it across the table. But then and they're celebrating over there in Argentina that they're getting this. then I see that the good that I think it's Scott, his is that right? Secretary. I don't want Bessemer. I don't remember. That's not his name, but let's see if I find his name. Besant. That's right, Besant. So he's pushing the package and then he falls. Like, and it to me, it feels as though the government could fall and they may never actually get the money as usual, right? Even for the people that they like, they may not actually get the money that they promised. And he trips and falls, and then Malay is like, and it's a total chaos and crisis for Argentina. I feel like they may get part of it, but not all of it. And he's just gonna. I think he goes insane. He's already pretty crazy, but he's like, what? No, 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 no. And I see, honestly, he's in some, goes to some sort of like a mental hospital because he can't handle it. He doesn't like how he had, even though he's a nasty, like horrible sociopath in a way, right? He's just like one of those libertarian types, like chaos creators. When he sees the harm that he has done to his own country, I feel like he's not going to be able to handle it. Yeah, I see it's interesting. I see an image of him dies. He dies in kind of like mysterious ways, and he will become a symbol of this era that elected all these crazy men who are just willing to burn the whole thing down. He'll be one of those like footnotes of history. That's what I see. Now, as far as the are concerned, now I see that they're going to have to sell some of the farms. I know there's companies wanting to buy, right? There's this whole story. I just see that in the future, whoever is the next president is going to have to offer so many subsidies and so many like gonna beg these countries, but I just feel like China is not gonna want to get it back for some reason. I think they might get more, but we're gonna lose a lot. And it's saying again, it's um it's a country that allowed, saying I see the headlines, arrogance allowed the US to shoot itself in the foot and let a con man and traitor destroy the economy to please its foreign masters. That's right, because that's what it is. And we all know, right, what this happens, what causes. We know this, but it's the Southern strategy, right? The whole racist thing, like just say, be careful, it's the immigrant, it's the brown person, it's this and that. It's the women who are taking and they convince especially the men to do all of this, and they do it. And then look at what they've lost. They were bamboozled by the orange man. So I hope, and I hate to ask this question, but I have to ask. So are these people ever going to learn what's going to happen? You see, there's a whole shift is going to happen in the U.S. because, say, as Kamala Harris said, it's broken, and it has to do with the elections. It has to do with the elections being stolen. Because if they hadn't been stolen, we wouldn't be going through this. And look at how much damage it has done already. So, anyway, so that was that. But I have to tell you this, guys. It's just it is what it is. Okay, it is saying we're closer to the end. All right. Here's another thing. So how's the shutdown going? And then and the Epstein files, how close are we to this? 8th. You're saying they could try something by next week. But I feel as to me, it's this showdown with the whole Epstein file situation. They don't want but they're gonna have to get that woman who was elected sworn in, and then they're gonna get it voted. That Mike, whatever his name is, the speaker, he's not going to be able to stop it completely. So That's right. And I see that all the stuff spilling out, like these folders opening up, all the stuff spilling out, and then go attack, and it doesn't work. It's saying it's inevitable. It also shows me, did you see how AOC mocked Stephen Miller? She said he's 4'10", he's such a tiny guy. And it really worked, right? That he's like a little guy who's wants to play tough because of how he feels about himself. So it shows all of them folding. Okay. So wow, interesting, very interesting. Okay, oh well. But guys, I should go. I don't want to make it this video very long. There's more that I'm going to do probably tomorrow morning. I've separated already more news. And tomorrow I'm gonna go to Strawberry Fields in Central Park because Jade is a longtime supporter, a longtime viewer. She had asked me to go see over there the celebration for his birthday, and wanted me to ask Ozzy Osbourne about John and all that. So we'll see. Because according to her, Ozzy Osbourne really liked John and Lennon. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna have to do this in the morning because I have some appointments later in the day, so I can't. So we'll see how that's gonna go. Okay. All right. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Bye.